Hi, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, so nice to see you. I do a lot of thrift store shopping, and on one of those trips I found this ugly candle holder. But it was made of wood, and I thought it was ideal for a base. And as always, I start my project with it. I filled the holes with air drying clay, and meanwhile I found this mold with a clay head I made a while back as a test. Maybe I could use it. I'm often very distracted and messy while working on my dolls or on everything, I guess. But hey, that's me. I glued some EVA foam on both sides with ordinary white glue and painted the side with acrylic paint later. From cardboard and polymer clay, I made some tombstones. I put some baking sheet underneath the clay so they wouldn't stick on my workbench. It worked a little bit. With the sanding sponges, I made the surface rough. And some lucky mistakes I leave alone. I use polymer clay from Sculpy, Fimo and Action. They all feel a bit different, but the end result are the same. I see no difference. You could tell me if there are differences. I'm doing some thinking how to make the stones nice, trying some things with strokes of clay. And I don't like this clay tool at all. It's so hard to handle. I have to find something else. But when all the stones were finished, I baked them in the oven at 130 degrees Celsius for about 20 minutes. And yeah, what am I going to make? Well, the title says it, I guess. But let me tell you why I'm making a ghost lady. It was inspired by a 5-part painting I'm doing at the moment. I hope it's finished as when this girl is, but knowing me, it's not. But here are some pictures of how the paintings are now. It's made with mixed media techniques with a lot of textures, but I need more details and I want them to be a bit darker. So not finished yet. It was time to choose a doll. I wanted my girl to be thin and long, but all my Monster High dolls are thin. Maybe not so tall, but I thought it was tall enough, or thin enough for this project. I also wanted her to have long fingers or long nails, but I will use the body of this Mummy Cleo and the head and hands of this sad looking lovely one. She also had a nasty stain on her forehead. I removed it with pure acetone, and underneath it was a lightning bolt or something, like Harry Potter. Does she normally come with that? I'm not sure how these dolls are called. You could tell me in the comments below. I would love that. So, time for head preparations. Cutting both their hair. Putting them in hot water for a minute. Both got decapitated. This one's missing parts of the neck back already, and that was an easy decapitation. Removed all the hair and glue that's inside. I use curved pliers for this. And when I removed all the factory paint, just in time, she could stay in a mixture of 90% acetone and 10% water for a few days. I also switched the hands. These pink ones were very nice and long. While she was soaking, I could straighten her body. I cut her torso in half. Sanded all the edges. Sanded all the mummy markings. And with a metal wire and a lot of hot glue, I put the two halves back together. While the hot glue was cooling, I had to do some surgery. With hot glue, I put the foam back on the base. When all the limbs were glued in place, I mixed 2 parts of modeling epoxy and smoothed all the joints, her butt and her tummy. I wanted to make her boobies later, because at this point I had nothing to hold on to without reshaping everything. Back to the base, while my gear was still soaking. One of my dear friends, whom I already got a lot of great stuff from, for my doll customizations, had again a lot of nice things for me. She is really cleaning up all her hobbies. And among these things were a couple of crosses. So, is that a coincidence or what? Great for my graveyard. So I was fiddling a bit with all that, looking what to use. And with my new Dremel, yay, I distorted the graves somewhat. I painted the tombstones in black and grey acrylic paint, also with some dry wash techniques, and the crosses as well, so they wouldn't look so new. And with some paint mixed with baking soda, I filled up some gaps of the crosses I glued together. This mixture is nice and thick. I used some metallic acrylic on the crosses too. With the same metallic, I tried some stenciling on the base. I gave my girl a few coats of gesso and white acrylics, and I forgot to make her bobbies. So back to the base. With wire and glue, I put all the stones in place. Oh, and I tried to engrave some names on the stones, but I have to practice that some more. I'm not content with that right now. I also made a few crows from wire, polymer clay and some tiny feathers. The claws were too big, so I had to redo them. They were still too big, but this will have to do. Anyone has a better technique, I would really appreciate tips. So, back to my girl. I repeated her soaking 3 times, and with drying time I had to wait over a week to start with her. I already put on her head, gave the whole body a few coats of acrylic and a few layers of Mr. Superclear, and had done some body blushing in grey tones. I don't have footage of this, all was lost with my hard disk crash. And with a new hard disk I could move on with my graveyard lady. She got a few scary dark eyes. I used my watercolor pencils from Derwent and Stabilo for this. I hope I can get that smile off her face somehow. Oh yeah, she got some boobies finally. And I drew some scary lines on her body as well, in purple, just as her nails. I made the mistake to already put a piece of baked clay on her, while I had to spray the body with Mr. Superclear, but I used some masking fluid on it. I saw this tip in a video from Catmillion, my favorite customizer. I will leave the link below. And it worked like a charm. I never would have thought of using masking fluid other than on paintings, so thanks Marjana. And now I could do all the other parts of her dress, if you could call it that. I wanted to make some sort of ghostly waving robe, but I didn't know how to really. And the polymer clay had to bake in the oven, and the doll does not like that at all. So what to do? What to do? Then I remembered somewhere, and I already used this technique. I don't know on which doll precisely, but you can pre-bake the clay with a heat gun. And I could try that entirely on the doll, I guess. If I could protect her somehow. I thought that would work with tin foil. So I made a few thin strips from translucent polymer clay, and with some metal wire glued on the body, I hoped the strips will stay in place. In the end, it wasn't entirely what I had in mind, but it will have to do. Maybe someday when I come up with a better technique, I will redo her dress. With a black permanent marker, I painted the wire so it would be kind of invisible. And with white acrylic, I painted all the wires that were under the clay. I hoped it would hide the wire a bit, but I'm not really pleased about it. I have to think about it some more. Maybe I will have a solution for the next project. I also tried some strips of fabric to hide all the wires and to hide all the not so nice looking bits, but I didn't like it at all, so I abandoned that idea. I made her a necklace from some seed beads, and I gave the base some finishing touches with some real stones, some tiny pebbles, and some leaves and grasses. Have you noticed my scary looking pebbles between all the graves? I did her face off camera with yarn made from 80% acrylic and 20% wool. I know that's not really suitable, but it was the only white yarn I had and it had a nice shine to it. If I didn't brush it, I thought it would be fine. Then it was time to put my graveyard ghost lady in her place. And I discovered that the wire I put in her foot was too short. Oh my god, so what to do? I cut this wire and drilled a hole next to it, very carefully. I glued a new larger wire in place and painted it black with a permanent marker. Now she could really stand on her place. Oh, just one more thing to solve. This screw doesn't sit right under her hair. I wasn't aware when I put him there. So he needed another place. Off camera I sprayed her hair with ordinary hairspray to give it that windy look. And I think she's done. Some cleaning up here and there. Time for final photos. What do you think of my creepy ghost lady? Please tell me in the comments below. That would help me a lot. And if you like the video, you can like and subscribe to my channel. That will help me a lot also. Hope to see you at my next project.